down. Please stop breaking down.
Hi there guys, I thought I'd do a quick video on this SPD1 kick by Roland, just whilst I've got it here. I've borrowed this from a friend in order to do, well, exactly what you saw in that little intro jam right there, kind of like solo blues stuff with a bass drum accompaniment. And there's a couple of reasons why I think it's an absolute standout pedal, and you know, some excellent features on here. But there's also one big reason why I wouldn't actually buy it with my own money, and I'll get into that in just a second. So bear in mind when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about it purely from doing what I was doing just there, using it to provide a thud sound through the PA. This is obviously designed to be a little bit more than that. It's kind of like an add-on to you know, a drummer's percussion setup. So you can play it with a stick. It doesn't just have to be a foot-operated device. Now, I'm not a big fan of digital drums, but it actually makes a lot of sense in this application. So I've tried a few different methods of trying to get a thud through the PA, including stuff like this, which is just, you know, some kind of eBay special Stomp box, little you know, jack output there. And this will have a piezo, however you want to say that, pickup in here. Now the problem with that is that you have to hit it exactly the same place every single time. So if you hit up here, it's going to be more of a thud, and down here is going to be more of a click, which you might think is really useful, but in practice, it's actually quite difficult to hit it in exactly the same way every single time. The other big problem with stuff like this or miking up a box is it's really dependent on what you're wearing. So if you're wearing a hard-soled shoe, it's going to be more of a click sound, and if you're wearing like a trainer, it's going to be more of a thud sound. It's also dependent on the venue floor. So if the floor's wood, that's going to create one problem, and carpet generally sounds better. I used to actually take some carpet with me, but that's kind of a pain in the ass. If it's a hollow stage, then that's a nightmare. You can get really boomy sounds through the PA. So this kind of negates all that by just having a digital reproduction of the sound. So no matter where you hit it on the pad, and also to a degree, depending on where you have the threshold, how hard you hit the pad, it's always going to be the exact same sound, and that's really what I'm looking for when trying to get a sound live. I want consistency. So the features on here, you've got a tuning knob which basically allows you to kind of alter the pitch of each of the sounds, whether you want a deeper bass drum or a higher pitched one. You've got effects, you've got reverb and distortion. I have no idea what you would use the distortion for, to be honest with you. The reverb, if you're using one of the higher pitch sounds, maybe that's useful. I can't see myself ever using the effects, to be honest. And you have a bunch of other sounds which I'll go through in just a second. The volume is useful if it's not your PA, and basically this whole thing is useful if it's not your PA. So if you're using one of these other devices, if you're using your own rig, you can EQ it to taste. But if you're going into someone else's rig, say it's like a, you know, multiple acts on one billing situation, and you rock up and you just plug into their rig, you have no control over your sound. At which point you'd have to start running these things through EQ pedals or compressors or whatever to make sure that the soundman can't botch the sound out front. With this, you can be pretty damn sure that it's always going to sound the same.
Yeah! Yeah! Don't go to strangers, you're in them, call on me.
So, what are the negatives? Well, there's only a couple. One, this on-off switch is absolutely tiny, and when you've got the output plugged in, it's really quite difficult to get to. It's quite fiddly. A lot of pedals, a lot of, regular Stomp boxes turn on when you plug in. This one doesn't do that. This one is on consistently. So if you run it from the battery, which by the way is, let me just take the battery cover off here. It's 4 AAs. I'm not sure whether that's better than one 9-volt sort of square battery or not. It's quite a lot. I don't know how long the batteries last. They seem to be lasting quite a while. But you can run it off a regular Boss PSA. If you run it off the regular adapter, you don't have to worry about the on-off switch, because obviously you just leave it in the on position and every time you plugged it in, it would be on. If you're running it off the batteries, you're going to need to use that tiny little switch every single time, and to me that should have been a rocker switch or a push button. This little slider thing feels flimsy to me. It feels like it's something that would break over time, so that's something I'm not really sold on. The only big reason why I wouldn't actually go out and buy this with my own money is because it's just a hell of a lot of money. I think if they were to make a reduced feature set version of this with a slightly slimmer profile so that it's a little easier to get your foot on when it's on the floor, I think if they made that at £100, they would fly off the shelves. But at 200 quid, that's quite a lot of money for a very simple sound. In terms of the sounds, the only one on here that I like is the Stomp, and I think it's excellent. The rest of them, you would maybe use them, but they're always going to sound a little digital. You have that hilarious one for the user position as well, which, yeah, I laughed my ass off when I first heard that one. But you could load in a different sound. You could maybe take a sample of the best EQ'd version of one of your other stomping devices. I hope you guys dug this video. It's a great device, well worth checking out if you've got the means. Personally, I'm going to stick to using a microphone in a box. That's the thing that I've had the most success with, albeit you have to take some carpet to put on the venue floor, and it doesn't hurt to staple some carpet to the top of the box as well to soften the attack if you're wearing harder shoes. But it's a shame that this is not half the price it is, because I would totally buy one of these. Alright, see you guys next time. Later.